Congratulations! You just got a job interview with a funeral home. But what do you do now? Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about, yes, job interviews with funeral homes. I want to tell you all a little bit about my first job interview that I had and then give you all some advice on what I think are positive things that you can do to better your chances. Picture it. 20-year-old Lauren, fresh from mortuary school, ready to get her first job working in a funeral home and take on the funeral industry. The only thing is, I didn't have a job lined up. One day I was actually talking to a cousin of mine who had a friend who was a friend of a funeral director. Gave me his number. She said to give him a call, maybe he could help me out. So anyways, I give this funeral director a call. I tell him my situation, how I want to be a funeral director, but I kind of don't know the next steps that I have to take, and he agreed to sit down and meet with me. This was not a job interview. This was just supposed to be me sitting down with him and talking and him giving me some advice. But I still treated it as if it were an interview because you never know what opportunities can come from certain situations. I came to his funeral home and I was dressed in a suit. Dressed for the job you want, right? I was just very nervous. But I had done something that any millennial in my situation would have done. I stalked him online. Prior to this meeting, I had gone on the funeral home's website and I was looking up any and all information that I could gather. Luckily, this funeral home had an amazing website with a ton of information. And under their staffing section, they had little pictures and about me. So I knew exactly who I was going to be meeting before I stepped foot into that funeral home. We went to his office and we sat down, we just started to chit-chat. By the end of our conversation, he ended up offering me a job. Looking back, I'm pretty certain that one of the things that he actually liked about me was that he could train me to be whoever he wanted to be. Because I had no prior knowledge, he could literally mold me into the funeral director that he wanted me to be. So, for those of you watching who may have a job interview coming up, I do have some advice for all of you. The first thing is dress for the part. It is still a very conservative industry. So if you have piercings, take them out. And if you have tattoos, cover them up. You can always talk with your employer after the fact to find out what their dress code is. But for the time being, when you walk into a funeral home, you have to look a certain way. Number 2. Bring your resume. I had absolutely no experience in a funeral home at this meeting, but I did work for a coffee shop and a clothing store. Those 2 jobs taught me customer service, and working in a clothing store also taught me some sales. You never know what skills from a different job could benefit you working in a funeral home. Number 3 is do your research. Like I was saying, I definitely stalked this funeral home online. I wanted to be able to get as much information as I could prior to the meeting. And a lot of funeral homes will put their obituaries online, so you can get a good idea of the number of calls that they do per month. The more knowledge that you have going into this meeting, the more that you're just going to impress the funeral home because they know that you took the time to find out a little bit about them. Number 4. Do not be afraid to ask questions. During this interview, even though they're trying to find out things about you, it's also important for you to find out different things about this funeral home. What does their on-call status look like? Do you get any scheduled time off or vacations? Do they offer any sort of insurance or healthcare? You are going to be spending a lot of time in the funeral home, so it's important to know what you're getting yourself into. And number 5 is be yourself. During our meeting, he had said to me that he could teach me everything there was to know about being a funeral director, but he could not teach me to care. The compassion and that drive that you have inside of you is something that is unique to who you are. It can't be taught. Let your passion shine through, because that's really going to show who you are as a person. If there's one thing that the funeral industry desperately needs, it's people that care. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.